Picture the classic American dream. You find a house, you go to a bank, and you sign a mortgage. For decades, this was a predictable, steady arrangement. The bank checks your income to make sure you can afford the payments, and you slowly pay them back over 30 years. Safe for you, safe for the bank. Now imagine it's 11 p.m. on a Wall Street trading floor. A senior risk manager has just been fired during a sudden round of layoffs. On his way out the door, he slides a tiny USB drive across a desk to a young analyst. He tells him to be careful. That little drive holds an incomplete math equation. It acts as a detonator. Over the next 24 hours, the numbers on that drive will trigger the collapse of the global financial system. To see how one junior employee's late-night math homework could blow up the economy, we need to look at the toxic lie Wall Street was quietly building in the background. By the mid-2000s, banks abandoned their safe lending standards to hand out what were called ninja loans. That stands for no income, no job, no assets. You could earn $15,000 a year picking fruit and get approved for a $700,000 home loan. The banks didn't care if these borrowers could pay them back because the banks were immediately selling the loans to other buyers. Wall Street took thousands of these highly dangerous individual loans and bundled them together into a single financial product called a mortgage-backed security. Think of it like a sausage factory. If you look at an individual piece of bad meat, you would never buy it. But once you grind it all up together and wrap it in a shiny package, it suddenly looks like a premium product. This diagram shows exactly how they did it. Wall Street took thousands of terrible mortgages, crushed them through their financial models, and the block that emerges from the grinder gets a shiny AAA rating slapped on the outside. That label is essentially a guarantee that this product is as safe as a government bond. Investors saw that safe rating and devoured them. Retirement accounts, state pension funds, and major banks all over the world bought these massive bundles of debt. Everyone was feasting on the returns, and nobody bothered to look at the ingredients inside the casing. The entire global financial network was now running on a massive supply of garbage. They built their wealth on a product that was guaranteed to rot from the inside out. Let's go back to that dark trading floor. The young analyst finishes running the numbers on that USB drive. He realizes his firm is currently holding $1.2 trillion worth of these toxic sausages on their own books. And the borrowers are already starting to miss their payments. The firm hadn't worried about this before because they relied on a standard formula called value at risk. This was the master equation every major bank used to measure how much danger they were in on any given day. You can think of this model like the financial weather forecast you see on this screen. It looked at historical market data and concluded that 99 days out of 100, the weather is sunny and the absolute worst you'll lose is $50 million. So the executives relaxed. The problem is, the model only measured the normal days. It had no way to predict the 1% outlier. It completely ignored the hurricane. The math relied on a massive blind spot. It assumed that if a homeowner in Ohio stopped paying their mortgage, it wouldn't affect a completely different homeowner in Florida. But the housing bubble tied them all together. When the default started, they all happened at exactly the same time. The hurricane was already making landfall. Wall Street put absolute trust in a broken equation. They were moving at full speed, unaware that the bridge ahead of them was already gone. By 2 a.m., the highest-level executives are pulled out of bed and rushed into a glass conference room. The CEO arrives by helicopter. These are people who make tens of millions of dollars a year, sitting completely isolated from the real world. Suddenly, they are staring at their own complete destruction. The junior analyst explains the math to the CEO in plain English. If the value of these assets drops by just 25% while sitting on their books, the losses will be greater than the value of the entire company. The music is stopping, and they are left holding the biggest bag of worthless paper in history. The CEO makes a very quick, very cold calculation. He orders his team to sell all $1 trillion of these toxic assets the second the market opens. They are going to sell them to the exact same clients who have trusted them for years. They know perfectly well that these securities have no value. By flooding the market with poison, they are choosing to destroy their clients' trust and kill the global market, simply to make sure their own firm survives the morning. At dawn, the trading floor is dead silent. The firm's top traders are briefed. Their only job today is to liquidate the entire portfolio. They pick up their phones and call their closest college roommates and trusting clients. They offer them a massive discount, pretending they are getting a deal on solid investments. By 10 a.m., the secret leaks. Buyers recognize a total liquidation when they see it. Panic sets in. The calls get ugly. The price of the assets craters in real time, dropping from 96 cents on the dollar to 85, down to 64. The traders staring at their screens know they are ruining innocent people's financial lives, but they keep dialing. They justify it by telling themselves they are just following orders, all while chasing a promised $1.4 million bonus if they hit their sales targets by the closing bell. When you place personal survival and massive wealth on the line, the system encourages people to turn off their conscience. Morality easily collapses under the weight of a seven-figure check. The events in Margin Call capture the actual history of September 2008. Major Wall Street banks executed these fire sales behind closed doors, offloading worthless assets onto an unsuspecting world. When the real-world fire sales were over, the damage left behind was immense. $11 trillion in household wealth evaporated. 6 million families lost their homes, and whole neighborhoods turned into ghost towns. While ordinary people were left to pick up the pieces, the government stepped in to rescue the architects of the disaster. They signed a $700 billion bailout check, saving the very banks that had built the bomb in the first place. The 2008 crash was the direct result of a rigged machine. It was a system where profits are kept by the winners at the top, but the devastating losses are paid for by everyone else.